Well, hello everyone. Real Deal is back with another video. Again, my whole purpose here is transparency in government, and I'm trying to get information out to people who aren't normally getting it. And I do that by going to a lot of meetings or watching them on YouTube or what have you, and getting information and trying to compile it and providing my commentary. And that's my whole purpose in life. It's my retirement plan, I guess, to just provide as much information as I can. And today's no exception. Today I'm going to be talking about what you see in the bubble there. The title here is Budget Crisis Identified for Townsend. I did briefly mention that in the titling on the selectmen's meeting from the other day that I posted. I think it was December 3rd. I think that was the night of the meeting. I've got it ready. I'm going to show you an excerpt from it. There was everything. I think in the description, I said there was everything in that selectmen's meeting but the kitchen sink. And there was quite a bit happening there. I may do a number of, I think I'm going to get multiple videos out of it. I keep forgetting to do shorts. Got to do some shorts on them. I think there's a few interesting, hilarious shorts I can, excuse me, cut out from that meeting, but especially somebody making demands, but we'll deal with that later. So yeah, before I get started, I want to let you know about some changes that I've made to my account or my channel, or I don't know what to call it. But if you'll notice in the upper right hand corner, you see a little QR code, and it says in really fine print, Real Deal Around Town, and then it gives my Venmo account name at Real Deal Around Town. And then on the bottom of that little box, it says Venmo. That's up there so that in the event, anybody wants to throw some pennies at me or contribute to keeping this channel alive and well and providing some of the, help me with some of the cost of doing this channel, that would really be helpful. As it stands right now, I am not monetized through YouTube. YouTube doesn't give me a nickel. Even if you're stuck watching some ads, I'm not getting any revenue from that. YouTube's getting all of it. I'm not eligible yet, believe it or not, to get monetized. And even if I did, they'd be throwing pennies at me too. So what a lot of YouTubers do is they advertise their Venmo account. I've got a Cash App that's at Tresselmania. They'll all be in the descriptions as well. But Venmo gives you a nice little QR code. And from what I can gather from everybody that's doing this, that Venmo is probably the best one to do to get contributions to help out with the channel costs. I've also, if you notice, you might not notice. If you're a YouTuber and you know what StreamYard is, you know that the free account, I used to have that little duck in the corner, and the duck's gone because I got a paid account. I went and did it. We had Cyber Week this week, and they offered a deal I couldn't turn down to sign up for a year of a paid membership in StreamYard so that I could have more perks that make it easier on my end to do a lot of things with my channel. And so my videos are a little bit better with some of the miscellaneous details, and it's a long story, but I won't bore you with the details. But I went ahead and got a paid account, so there's that excuse for asking for money. I also bought a green screen, so you don't see it because it's a green screen. But I have a green screen behind me so that everything that you're seeing is a little clearer. I'm not fading away as a ghost in the picture, so I don't know how the green screen works, but it does something. I don't know. I can still make myself disappear, but it's a whole nother, it's above my pay grade to understand how that all works. But I just want to let you know that's there. And I'm learning more perks that come along with StreamYard. I can have, if I want to do live things, I could do that too. I was going to do one today, but I decided it's enough stress to do it this way. At least I can this if I don't like it and do major edits if I have to. But I just wanted to let you know, click for more layouts. No, I'm good. So I wanted to talk about some information that came out at the Townsend Select Board meeting the other day, and that's about the budget crisis. Some of you predicted a budget crisis, and you know what? To some degree, you are absolutely right. It happened. DOR is in our shit, or in, not my shit, in town hall shit. After the town administrator and most of the select board was just kind of sitting there like deer with a deer in their headlights. So I'm going to show you that excerpt from the meeting, but I'm going to give you a quick quick for me. You know that's not going to be quick, but a somewhat quick synopsis of what happened, what's going on. Apparently, at a minimum, at an absolute minimum, we are $87,000 in the hole, and that's not trash bags. Nope. There was a glitch. A glitch. Could have seen this coming. If you went to town meeting back in May, we got to go all the way back to May. We had a whole bunch of special town meetings, but the big one in May, there was a lot of argument at that one. Pretty sure it was the May one. Yeah, it was May. Definitely May. Was it May? Oh, it was, because it was when we were really talking about the budget. All the other specials, in my opinion, we should have had May, should have functioned, and it was total chaos. We left that town meeting with the budget not in balance, and we knew that. And the select board, if you remember, I was arguing with the selectmen on the floor. They would first 4 articles. Oh, we don't have a deficit. We don't have a deficit. We don't have a deficit. And then I stood up and said, okay, they're lying. They're lying. They're lying to you. Called them liars, all of them. Everybody at that table was a damn liar. Well, Kathy wasn't. Town council, he fibbed somewhere in there. And yeah, anybody that knew anything knew that we had a deficit. And I said, you guys, these men and women up here are going to sit there, and when we get to Article 6, they're going to say, oh, we have a deficit. We have to plug the deficit. We have to pass this article. We didn't pass the article because that was the trash fee article. I know this is ancient history. May is ancient history in the world of town meetings. But they wanted, I think it was $25,000 they wanted in order to do this software nonsense and learn, and hire staff so that they could collect the trash fee that they were planning. I don't want anybody to ever forget that if we ever went to a trash fee, what it will cost us. But we didn't. We went to pay as you throw, thank God. But anyway, which only costs all right, I'm not going down the rabbit hole of trash yet. I will today. In this video, we are going to talk about trash. But what I want to talk about is this $87,000. I think there was funny business. Every single person that was involved with the funny business is no longer around. They are no longer associated with town government in any way. That would be, I'm going to start with the town administrator. At that time, it was Eric Slagle. Now, he is an attorney, but he's not employed by us. He was never employed by us as an attorney. He was employed as our town administrator. And he made, I have to say, in my opinion, it's just my opinion, I don't want to get sued, that he made some really bad legal decisions because, oh, I think I can handle this. No, you can't handle this, Eric. You just weren't making good choices. So I think that him and Chaz and Joe somehow set this up. I'm going to be going through, if I have time, I'm going to be going back to select board meetings. They're all on my channel. If you go back to the select board meetings, the May series, that's when I started this. See, I knew. Now I'm really certain that there was shenanigans. because those were the meetings that they weren't recording. And I actually am the only one that have the recordings. You will not find the recordings that I'm referring to on the Towns YouTube channel. They're not there because they didn't record them. I went to the meetings, I recorded them, and that's when everybody were calling me deplorable and every other damn thing. And because I was recording them when they didn't want the meetings recorded. I wonder why. See? I am not kidding. The man, I just thought of that. That as they were coming up on these meetings, there was some of them were recorded, at least partially, but the serious business wasn't, because they were talking about the budget. I know I'm rambling, but I have a point. But I know that Teresa Morse, who's still around, I think she got the shit on this because she at least she fought for what she was trying to do. Uh, the Joe and Chaz and Eric, especially Chaz and Eric. I don't know that Joe really knew what the hell was going on most of the time, which I think that's why he quit. But that's a whole nother video. That Eric and Chaz spent a lot of time together going over budget stuff, and there was, and they tried to leave Teresa out of almost every decision they possibly could. If you remember that. So there was this capital, she worked on the capital plan as the select board member. This represented, they have to have somebody from the select board on the capital planning committee. And she took that role. And she took it pretty serious. I think she spent too much money, but that's nothing. It doesn't matter. It just doesn't matter. That's another video. That the town's spending, we're in such a budget crisis that doing a lot of capital spending, I think we need to reel that in right away. Stop. We already have too much debt. But that's another video. But this is $87,000. If we go back to May, early May, before the town meeting, probably into April. I don't know. I'm sorry. Teresa was trying to present the capital plan, and there was some screw up, and she was not too happy about it, that some monies seemed to have disappeared off the capital plan, and it threw the whole capital plan in a flux. It was wrong, and the money wasn't adding up, and she could see that. And so she brought it up at a select board meeting, and it was back and forth. It was hard to follow, but especially if we didn't have the spreadsheets in our hands. They did. But some of this money, was, and it was all wrapped up in the ambulance reserve receipt account. And then they had to do all this as we got into the town meeting, there was all this wheeling and dealing with Gary Shepard. I don't know what, he's a fire chief. I don't know, full-time, part-time, anytime, I don't know. But he and then making all kinds of backroom deals on how this was all going to come down. And that's why I think the shenanigans really came into it. I think that, he had supposedly, and this was somewhat brought up at town meeting, that he was agreeing to remove money from ambulance reserve. In fact, there was even an article. There was an article that gets wrapped up, and I think there was either the annual, or I think it was actually a special. I got to go back through all these meetings. I remember all these articles going through. That might have been a special that we went back. That's where it got convoluted between the annual town meeting, and then there was another meeting that we had another special where one of the articles was to move more money somehow with ambulance reserve receipts accounts. And somewhere in there, I think it was shenanigans. I really do. Yep, there was shenanigans between the documentation associated with the those articles, both in the original budget and the and the motions got made, and everybody was led to believe that something was, oh, this is fine. We do this, we do that, magic, that, shell game with the money. And I think that's what happened. Nobody stole any money. Okay. It was just well, it kind of was. Not really. I mean, nobody actually stole money. They stole money from the budget, but it's just it just never got, the fire department still has it. It never got transferred because the motions and stuff were incorrect, and everybody was sold a bill of goods. It's happened before, and I think the reason why I think it's shenanigans is because if you're out in the summertime and you're out in May and you go, okay, well, we'll have a special town meeting in the fall, even though I think that they knew, I really do. It's my opinion that Chaz, maybe Joe probably did because he was all in the public safety realm there. And certainly Eric. And then we went over to Ross. I don't know what Ross knew. Ross had to have known because we've had 3 town administrators since May. You want to know? Okay, we're on our 3rd, and poor Nelson does. I think he's really getting unfairly treated. But the when you're screwing up the budget and making bad decisions, which happens, it's been happening for about the last 3 or 4 years, maybe 5, that you overspend, and oh, we'll have a special in the fall, and we'll have free cash. There's still, Veronica Kell is still trying to spend free cash that we don't even have. She just wants to spend free cash, and we have a deficit. Deficit means no free cash. Are you out of your mind? She was a math major in college, just not a finance major. See, that's where, she gets screwed up. She was not a finance major. She was a math major, and those are not the same. They're not the same. They're not even close. But anyway, so that's another video. So I think that they were planning, they knew that there was going to be a problem, and they said we can fix it in the fall. And this has happened before, and I confess I was involved with it about 9 years ago. 9 years ago, 2015. I got caught up in it. The town administrator at the time was Andy Sheehan, and he screwed up $100,000. And the accountant, during the recap, caught it. And thankfully, we did have a special town meeting scheduled before the end of the year. And we did have available money because back then, we usually always had extra money. We ran a tight ship, but there was extra money. We usually put money into stabilization rather than taking it out. The budget was a functional one. It was always, because the town is not an affluent community. We're not. We're really not, no matter what people want. So, but it was fixable. But the accountant at the time was running around like a chicken with her head cut off. She was upset. And I'm like, how did this happen? And when she explained it to me, I went, oh, I guess I should have caught it. And I didn't. Because I was just coming, I was not on the Board of Selectmen back then. I was on the FinCom. And then I got elected to the board in November of 2015. That's when it was all coming to pass. And I said, I should have caught it. I mean, I knew when they said the 100,000 back then, 9 years ago, I knew what it was. And I'm like, shit. But here we are, and we don't have a special scheduled. Free cash is not certified, nor will it be ever, probably at this rate. We're in trouble. So I know I'm confusing you, but they did the recap again, and we're at least $87,000 short. And DOR has been calling Nelson, our town administrator, and saying, you got to fix it by the end of the year. This year, not the fiscal year, this one. They have to have an answer. We've been talking, when it comes to trash, we've been talking about this. But no, this isn't even trash. This is town meeting stuff. that were, and this board, they're putting it off. Nelson said, if you listen to this video, I mean, he was stuttering, literally stuttering, trying to explain it to these people. But DOR could have called already this week and said, no, you have to have an answer like now. And the Board of Selectmen aren't meeting. They are meeting again, at least on the 12th. I don't know if that's going to be soon enough. And then the second thing, I'm going to start the Board of Selectmen's meeting video at the point where this whole thing goes. And if I need to, I'll jump in and make comments on in between stuttering. And I'm not trying to pick on Nelson, but he was really stuttering in this video, which you have to have patience to follow. I think he was really nervous and he was getting yelled at unfairly by someone who's acting like Nelson and everybody around her is an idiot. But he's trying to come up with solutions that he had put a lot of work into, and there's competing interests, which you will hear and see. I'm showing, there's two versions of the video. There's the Towns version, there's my version. My version, believe it or not, this time is better, except I really don't have a good, you can't see Veronica Kell's face, which that might be a good thing, because on the Towns version, Nelson was leaving a spreadsheet up on the screen, and you can't see what's going on. And mine, I zoomed in on Nelson when he started talking about the deficit, because I knew how important that was. The second problem, it's trash. I'm sorry to say, but DOR is coming down on the town because we have not sold enough trash bags. Just everybody don't freak out and start laughing and say, I told you so. Well, okay, you can tell us so, but that doesn't mean it's a problem at the end of the year, the end of the fiscal year. But I think it is a problem. It's a problem. I spoke to Norman. Where did Norman come into this? At least it's an N. Nelson Moy, who's our town administrator. I spoke to him, and that shows on the video, maybe, if I kept it going. I'm not sure if I'm going to show you all that. But he, well, you'll see it in the full. If you watch the long version, you'll see me talking to him after the meeting was over. But apparently, Nelson talked to Shaw's, and there's approximately 200 people that have gone off the town that they've privately contracted with Shaw's. Anyway, I mean, there's other people that might have done other things. And I know there are people that have done other things as well, that aren't in the 200. So more than 200 people basically have gone off the town, and that is causing a problem now. I think in the long run, that's a good thing. I thank people when they tell me they've gone off the town. I'm like, thank you very much. Because later on, when they're doing tonnage, it'll be a good thing. But right now, it's a problem because those 200 or plus people aren't buying the purple bags. And actually, I've learned that our price point's higher than most communities. I know, really, it is. So we're a little bit high. This whole trash thing has just been a shit show. But I'm still convinced, I'm not going to change my mind either, that the pay-as-you-throw is the best thing we could have. But we're short. I don't know how much we need, but he's trying to work that out with DOR and figure out projections. We're in a dip. I mean, everybody thinks it's going to go back up after Christmas because people are going to throw more stuff away with Christmas, so they'll need more bags. But right now, there was a big bump in October, then it dropped, and it's sitting. Nobody's buying any now. Well, you don't need them. I bought some in October. I'm not going to need any till February, and that's the truth. So that is a problem. But Nelson's working on it. But we have he was trying to tell the selectmen that we have to have a special town meeting before the end of the month, which I don't think that's realistic anyway. But he's in a panic. I know he's in a panic. You can't see it so much in the video, but it's we have a problem. We're not going to be in receivership. There were some people were talking, we'll be in receivership by whenever. It's like no, but we're in trouble with DOR, and they're going to probably send a representative to fix it if we don't. Um, but it's very serious. It's not a joke, and hopefully, no one in town hall is taking it as a joke. But I'm going to play this, and I do want to tell you, it is not simply because the pay as you throw program is garbage, pun not intended. It's really a good program. Um, it the whole rollout, the trying to balance the budget, they didn't. They failed completely. The last Chaz, Joe, and Eric Slagle screwed up this budget and left. Of course, Chaz, if he hadn't left when I made him leave, he probably would have left by now or this week because things are not going well. But let me stop babbling and bring up the video. Is it playing? There it is. Now I got to find it on my other screen.
Popped up that is going to be a bigger ask, and I'm literally out of the 106,000, I'm requesting 87,000, which I'll explain what we found out. Last Wednesday, the town accountant was doing the tax recap, which is something that is done every year. You have to submit a big form um, to the state, and
Yes.
after entering in everything, the um, the town accountant, along with the assistant town accountant, the very end of that, um, you know, um, online portal said we were over the tax levy, and uh, Vicky, along with the town accountant, says that's a no-no. We spoke to DOR, can't do that, so you either have to be at zero or under the tax levy. So what that really means is we need to find some influx of funds to balance out this you know tax levy. And we have no idea. We haven't been able to pinpoint exactly where it came from, but we were thinking maybe it had something to do with a town meeting. There was multiple votes. There was one vote to transfer $700,000 to ambulance receipts, but then at the May town meeting there was another article to transfer another 100,000, and then in the August town meeting, special town meeting, there was another $100,000. So we think between all those votes, you know, one of those transfers didn't somehow make it into the budget process, if you will. So that sort of then resulted in um, you know, uh, a number that's above the allowable tax levy. So
Can't we confirm what came from ambulance receipts into the general fund?
correct. Yep. That
Can we confirm
we did.
when transfers were made?
The ambulance receipts for $100,000 at the special town meeting, that was confirmed to be part of this exercise, this tax.
So that was in May.
Well, we think um, that article in May somehow didn't make it into our numbers. We're still trying to figure out how we got, above the tax levy. But that's sort of our best guess at the moment. And, you know, the, we have a couple options of plugging it. We can use ARPA money, we can use free cash, or we can use stabilization. The problem with using free cash or stabilization, you need to go to a town meeting to do that, and I need to do all this by basically the end of this month, otherwise there'll be.
You have free cash certified.
Well, I'll get to that in a minute, but so free cash and stabilization, you need to go to a town meeting.
And vote.
Yeah, and you need to post it for 14 days, so you're really pushing it into mid-December. You know, you post within 14 days, you can only hope you get a quorum at this meeting. Let's just say you cross that hurdle, and then people will vote it down. Now you basically have, 2 weeks have gone by, and you don't have the outcome that you want. Now you're scrambling to figure out what to do, and you still have this, roughly $87,000 hole to plug, in a tax recap submittal. And more importantly, if this tax recap doesn't go through, the tax rate can't be set, which means the tax bills, the real estate tax bills can't go out. So by law, the tax bill needs to go out on January 1st, so that it's due on February 1st. If that bill goes any later than January 1st, you can't, the earliest you can, by statute, collect money is May 1st. So that means you're missing an entire quarter of.
Okay. This is where the urgency comes in. The town administrator, Nelson Moy, is telling the select board that they can't, this is really where this is urgent, this is an emergency. It doesn't mean it's party time for Townsend residents. He just said that there's laws, and it protects the taxpayer, but hurts the town, because we're really in a deficit. So we don't have any money to spend, period. There's money, not enough. We do quarterly tax billing. The next bill is supposed to be mailed by January 1st. Of course, the post office isn't working, but doesn't matter. They get sent out January 1st so that we will pay our taxes, our property taxes, that is, on February 1st. They have to do it that way. And we have to do it, for the quarterly tax billing, it has to be set up for us to pay our taxes for February 1st. But they have to give us 30 days notice. The tax rate has not been set, because and that's what this exercise was all about, that they had to do this formula on this online page. I'm familiar with it. I can't remember what it's called. The DLS Gateway. And the numbers didn't add up. We have an urgent problem. We have to make these balance. This is where the rubber meets the road here. And because we have to balance that before they can mail out our tax bills. They have to come up with an ironclad solution in the next 3 weeks from right now. And what he's concerned with is, town meeting's an option, but ARPA, he was trying it before I cut in on the he was trying to also get them to maybe, can we play some games with ARPA? And he can. But see, Veronica doesn't want to do that, but yet but the other selectmen can't get a word in edgewise. But the problem with, they can't mail out our tax bills. We cannot be required to pay our taxes until May if this happens, which would put that, I mean, receivership is not a thing. Okay, just get that off the table. But we won't be able to pay our bills. We'd be in default come February if we don't pay the taxes. If we don't pay our quarterly taxes. As you'll see in this video, Veronica Kell is completely confused by this because, again, like I told you a few minutes ago, she has a degree in math, not finance, and certainly not municipal finance. This has been proven. Our finances are going down in the shitter thanks to some of her decisions. But she's completely confused as to how come, we haven't gotten there yet, but she's going to be very confused in this video. But when the schools come into this, because we have bills we have to pay, and throughout the year, it's not just, oh, you have town meeting and we paid all our bills, everything's all set. We budget, but the budgeting is based on the income, the expected income that we get from our taxes, and which comes from setting the tax rate based on the budget and revenue, blah, blah, blah. And it's confusing to some. I don't want to go down a whole lesson on this, but the whole ability to pay our bills is based on the treasurer receiving our property taxes in February. And they can estimate how many of us are going to actually pay our bills so that they can pay what is needed. And for some of the things, they actually borrow money throughout the year in order to do that. But in between tax bill payments that we make, but they can't borrow unless they know it's coming. And treasurer can't borrow if she doesn't, until this has to be an ironclad fix within the next 3 weeks. And running into December 12th for the next Board of Selectmen's meeting is cutting it awfully close, because if they decide to have a town meeting, it will be on New Year's Eve, which means the treasurer's office will be working till morning. They can't do that. That won't work. It can't happen, because you have to post the town meeting 2 weeks out. It means we have to have a town meeting the day after Christmas. That's crazy. It's not even possible. So they have to fix it. They're going to have to let him do ARPA. But this is, now you might say, oh, good, I don't mind if we don't have get a tax bill in February or in January, so we don't have to pay our taxes in February. Yeah, party time. No, because we'd have to pay double in May. And I know, we don't have rich people in Townsend, maybe one or two, but there's not, as a town we suffer, but we also suffer individually, because come May, you're going to get I'm going to, guesstimate more than $2,000 tax bill, maybe $3,000 for just May. If we don't pay anything in February, the town will be asking everybody to come in and, can you make a payment anyway? Which we can. We can pay our taxes early, I think. I'm not sure, because they haven't. That's interesting. That's a question I should be asking, because people that have their money in escrow, I don't know if your mortgage company will release the funds without the tax bills having gone out. So these are questions, but it's not going to be enough if this goes that bad. If it goes that bad, we are in a lot of trouble. And DOR will be probably supervising the financing of our town by the end of the month. They probably should. Because there's clueless people. Anyway, I'm going to get this show going back on the road here. Let me bring this back up. Find the actual video. Here we go.
cash flow that you normally would get. So, so the, so having that special town meeting, if things don't get passed, it delays the tax rate, the tax bills going out, and, the town could literally we could literally run out of cash. We don't have enough cash to pay employees or vendors or the school department because tax bills don't go out on time. So, um, so unfortunately, it's really critical we plug this deficit, and
How can we be sure that that's the deficit?
um,
You don't know where it came from or how it happened.
And, right, and what fiscal year are we talking about? Are we talking about fiscal year?
Okay. This is where Veronica Kell is going to start asking stupid questions about the school and how come fiscal years, because she doesn't know the difference. I mean, she knows the words, but she doesn't know what we're talking about. But we're in, from town meeting forward, July 1st of this year is when this fiscal year started, and that's when this crisis is. And when we pay our taxes, it's in this year, not for some other imaginary year. Also, this is where she's going to start asking stupid questions about the school budget. How come we're talking about schools? What are you talking about? And it's because, when we go to town meeting, the money doesn't just magically, oh, we put it in our budget, therefore the schools are all set. No, we have to actually give them the money, but we don't get the money until people pay their taxes. That's how town budgets work. And that's why it's a tight squeeze all the time in this place, especially since Veronica was on the board of selectmen the last time. But the school's budget is not, I mean, it's a budget, but we got to pay, it's a bill. They send it and they charge us quarterly because we're on quarterly taxes. So they get all the towns, all 3 towns, or every town in Massachusetts for that matter. But let's just talk North Middlesex. The North Middlesex Regional School District sends us a bill. You allocated $12 million, whatever it is. I don't know. I can't remember. I don't have it in front of me. But whatever our budgeted, approved number on our schools assessment, we pay it quarterly. We don't just pay one lump sum. We pay it quarterly. A quarter of it each quarter, which just it goes along with when we send out our tax bills. So sometime after February or during February, most likely, the treasurer's office writes a check, or the accountant, somebody writes a check to the schools or transferred electronically or something. But that's how we pay the actual schools. That's how they get their money out of our budget. It's not just magic. And if we don't send out a tax bill, not only will our employees not be getting paid because there's no more money, but the school's employees won't be getting paid because we're not paying our share. And any other bill, phone bills, Unitil bills, Comcast, what else? We got bills for God knows what. There's all kinds of bills that we pay every time, but we have to pay them about, if we do quarterly, I mean, there's monthly billing, that's bills that get paid every month, but it's based on the money that comes from us paying our taxes on those quarterly dates. This next one is February, and the way things are going, it's not going to happen. But it is not party time for taxpayers. But let's go back to, this is where Veronica Kell steps in quicksand, and she demonstrates how little she knows about finance. I can't take it. I just can't take it.
Year 25,
Oh,
or are we
here we
talking
go.
about fiscal year 24?
we're talking about 25.
Because we're talking about 25.
Yeah, the current school year. Because we have to pay them each quarter, and that between the 2 schools, that is about $4 million.
Wait, how did we get on schools?
Well,
I was just wondering,
well, because of cash flow issues, if the worst case scenario happens and the tax bills don't go out on time, we're not gonna have enough revenue to pay for everything, including, those big quarterly, school assessment bills. So we double checked, the town accountant checked everything, and, we are about as certain as we can be, given everything, that it's about an $87,000, deficit that we need to plug.
who looked through and made sure there were no key data entry errors?
It was Markham and, the assistant town accountant. They've been working since last Wednesday when this popped up, when they were doing the tax recap. And we also got on the phone with DOR, Department of Revenue, with our rep, Bobby Joe, and she's in agreement that that is the deficit.
And Capital Strategic Solutions, did you run this by them for allowable use of ARPA funds?
Well, so what's allowable with ARPA funds is you can use it to pay a wide range of things. You can pay for like salaries.
Did you check it with CSS? Did you talk?
Not for this specifically, but I had spoken to them that, what is allowable, leftover money. So we could, use whatever hasn't been allocated towards general fund expenses. And that is allowable through ARPA. And then that would also plug the gap, so to speak.
Because prior, and I know that the rules have changed annually, but prior to this, you could not use it for budget of underages or whatever. Maybe the rules have changed now. So you would definitely want to run.
Oh my. See, this is where Veronica goes off the rails and just wants to attack whoever she can. Nelson is getting in the hot seat right now. He's trying to explain things to her. She doesn't want to hear it. She just wants to be able to say, somebody's doing something wrong and it's not her. And they got to fix it. You're doing the wrong thing. And she's got to teach people. I got to explain this to you, No, Veronica, you're the one who's not listening. What Nelson is trying to do, and I sped up the video from the Board of Selectmen's meeting, so that we don't have to suffer through too much of this. And I'm sorry I didn't do it earlier. I forgot. So what Nelson is trying to do is move money that he can to free up money from our budget. He can take money from salaries and pay the salaries out of ARPA money for the allowable amount, rather than leave it in ARPA, leave it on our budget, I should say. Take budgeted salaries, move it into ARPA, so that those salaries are actually available for us to spend. And he's doing it on the familiar, because we've started to transition some of our ARPA paid employees, which is the HR and the wellness, and I think there's a couple others he's going to say, but that we can free up some of the salary money and push that into ARPA again. It puts us, we're in a fix for this 87. We're going to have to, in the future, our budget for the next couple of years is going to be screwed up because of this, but not like it is right now. This is an emergency. But what he's trying to explain to Veronica, and she will not have it. She never does during this meeting. She never does catch on. But he wants to move money from into ARPA or out of ARPA, no, out of our budget into ARPA so that it can be paid off down the road. And he said he's got $106,000 in ARPA that's available, but we only need for at least for the 87,000. The glitch, the thing that I think was a shit job, that he can do that. He has the money there, and he's trying to give them all the options, but at least Veronica's not even listening because she just wants to attack like always. But the it's an I think what he's trying to say, it might be an easy fix to be able to do the ARPA thing, and he's going to have to write a script, I guess, for the next meeting. But she wants, the CSS, those are the coordinators for the ARPA money. But did you run it by them to see if we can do budget deficits? And he's like, no, because he's not trying to plug a budget deficit with ARPA money. He's trying to take money out of ARPA or put salaries into ARPA to free up, that 106,000 that's sitting there in ARPA. He can take that out of ARPA and pay some salaries or commit to paying salaries. And then we have the 106,000 available to plug the deficit, not just ARPA money is going to plug the deficit. That's some of the legitimate legal game playing that you can do. And he's trying to do that. Hopefully, and it might even cover even the trash bag deficit. Anyway, so I'm going to bring this back up.
Run this by CSS. They're the ones that do the reporting for this. Is not to the state, it's to the Treasury Department, federal government, and they are the ones that do the reporting for the town. And I would want to be assured that the reporting that's done for the town is accurate.
I can certainly triple check with them, but last I had spoken to them about this exercise, what we can do with the leftover ARPA money. We can put it towards a wide range of expenses, ranging from salaries to the electricity bill to, any number of things. So
you have a list of 7 projects. The most critical is number 6, which is this reallocation of 75,000 from ARPA 1, ARPA 3, ARPA 4, ARPA 5, and ARPA 11, 13, 18.1, and 23 to fund what is going to be ARPA 27. Can we, and I'll read through the amounts and everything, can we at least try to get this done tonight contingent on that it's fund, the reallocation to ARPA 27, which I assume is a new fund, correct?
yes, it is a new number that I sort of
Is
penciled in.
approved by the treasurer.
The person who determines the ARPA numbers is CSS. That's who gave us the 01, 02, 03,
So that's
all the
what
way
I'm
up
saying.
to 20 whatever.
Can we run this, can we approve this tonight contingent on their assigning a number and approving the amount, 87,000?
I would like to take some time and go through all these. All I'm seeing are ARPA numbers, and I don't have memorized which is which. I need time to look at this and review it and know the why. I would certainly want Jennifer at CSS to be consulted on this and to make sure that all of these are right. There are also selectmen's policies. So there are 4.
I'm going to throw up. Listening to her just trying to derail a process that's working is really frightening. She wants to have a full class in municipal finance right now, which she can't. And I'm just them waiting for the 12th just to come up with a solution is pushing it. I don't know that isn't going to be too late. That there's no ARPA people need to get involved with this because Veronica doesn't understand something. And what's bothering me too is watching this whole meeting was like this, that Veronica making commands where she's one of 3. She has a voice of 1, 3. She does not make the decisions because she wants time to look at something. Doesn't mean that the rest of the board have to give it to her. She doesn't understand something. She may just abstain from voting. I'm sorry that this is. I could see that both Lori Schifrin and Teresa Morse are sitting there, unfortunately, somewhat intimidated by, Veronica's demanding all this stuff that doesn't even make any sense. That it's like it's an emergency. Selectmen's policy, selectmen's policies are really out the window. It's not a bylaw because selectmen can change the policies right then and there. Right then and there, they can change the policies. The policies are only a guideline. They're not a bylaw. It's not like we voted. The townspeople had a town meeting and we're saying, you got to do what Veronica says or else. That's not how it works. I'm really concerned that this and the other two are just not stepping in and asking her to shut up. And because it's just rude and obnoxious listening to this. And everybody's just frozen in time here. And then she's going to continue the same crap. And I'm going to make you watch it again. And hopefully, I know I'm losing people left and right on this video, and oh well. But you can go back. You can come back and watch it over 3 weeks for all I care. But you should devour this whole bit of information before the 12th. That's all I can say. So let me go back. We're going really fast now. Try to keep up.
Forms that need to be filled out for allocations and reallocations for every single one of these. Those are our policies.
Can you see if she can be available at our next meeting? If you decided to try to do a forward session, see if she can be available.
I can try, I can also
She
just,
has been very, she can zoom in, and she has been, pretty much available, to do that. If we are gonna, move this to later, I'd like to make it, not an evening meeting, but make it in the day, make it easier for her to be available, so.
okay, yeah, that should be fine, but I do want to reiterate how critical that this gap is still, because it's gonna set off a whole bunch of events that would.
Veronica, can you do Tuesday during the daytime?
Can I do what?
Tuesday during the daytime.
I am traveling.
When are you back available again?
The 12th, evening of the 12th, or any time during the 12th, but there are interviews set up now on that day, and I haven't written them in my calendar yet. Also, the night of the 11th. I'm sorry. Yeah, the night of the 11th, the night of the 12th, or during the day on the 12th, when there's not an interview planned.
Okay, can you get those times to Nelson? I'd like to have it during the day, because I'd like to have CSF present
I'm
for that
looking,
meeting.
I'm looking at the interview schedule, so we could probably do like the first interview starts at 1, so maybe we can do like a late morning.
On which day?
On the 12th?
The 12th.
So 11
Yep,
o'clock
that would
on
be
the
fine.
12th. Okay, so,
there is some more I need to talk about. So, yeah, so we got DOR on the phone, to sort of discuss what's going on, and they rightfully so saw that we have a new revenue source, the pay-as-you-throw that program, and DOR, when they see new revenue sources like that, they sort of examine it a little bit further, and they're still looking at the numbers I provided them for bag revenue that we received, from the Waste Zero Bag program. But there is a distinct possibility that if they look at those revenue that we received and they don't sort of like the direction we're heading in, they could say, the 550,000 that you were that you put on your projections might not hold, and they're at that point are going to come back to us and ask us to plug that gap as well. And that's when we may have to dig deeper into the ARPA stuff. And the only thing I can think of in ARPA to really sort of siphon funds off of are the wages for the HR manager and wellness coordinator. You can see in FY27, there's some money budgeted that's about 40,000, just under 40,000, and then it's a lot more in FY26. And if DOR comes back to us saying, we think you're going to be $100,000 short, you need to come up with the difference. I can't think of any other way of doing it besides tapping into those out years. Certainly FY27, because that's 2 years out, so I'm trying to worry about right now versus 2 years out. But it may very well bleed into 26. That's obviously a problem with the FY26 budget coming up. But again, I'm just trying to get through 25. So that is a very distinct possibility that DOR, when they look at the revenue figures that I provided them, they'll come back and make us plug that deficit that they sort of expect us to, to realize by the end of the fiscal year. So, so those are, the 87,000, that is a right now problem, but DOR can, in the coming days, come back with us, saying, we don't think the projections are gonna work, we're gonna need to find, someone who can come up with money to balance the budget.
I make a motion that we take no action at 5.0 on ARPA project funding and move the discussion to set December 12th, 2024 at 11 p.m.
So moved.
Veronica Cal second.
All those in favor, roll call vote.
Laura Schiffern, aye.
Veronica Cal, aye.
And Teresa Amos, aye. Okay.
I have a request then from Nelson that we have all the information we need.
Okay. This is where Veronica is going to upset me again. She's going to make another demand that she wants. It's not a vote. She's not even entertaining that there's anybody else in the room but her. And she's about to make a demand on Nelson that if this is followed, then it's completely disruptive of government, and it means just to kiss her butt, or just, it's a setup. This is an absolute setup, because town government doesn't operate on her schedule. It operates on when it operates. Things come up each and every day. She's about to demand that Nelson make sure that she has every single piece of paper that has anything to do. She needs to know absolutely everything 48 hours in advance of a meeting as to what's exactly is going to happen at the meeting. So she has time to read up on it and understand everything, and which she doesn't understand even with it's a year of information. She still can't figure things out. But expecting him to even be able to do that is asking for the impossible. Sure, there are things. I mean, the agenda has to be set 48 hours out, and it does. Good old open meeting law, my favorite subject. But the packet, the things that go into that, much of it they don't even get till sometimes an hour even before a meeting. Sometimes the town administrator is, things change, especially right now with a crisis like this. There's no way he's going to be scrambling as it is just to get things to them for the meeting itself, not 2 days before. Forget about it. That there's new information that comes in. People walk into town hall with new information, and even on a regular Board of Selectmen's meeting, sometimes something will come up that's urgent the day of a meeting that it's not on the agenda. And there are things that are allowed within the open meeting law, things that are not perceived, not known to be, I can't remember what the terminology is, but, unforeseen issues that need to be addressed by the Board of Selectmen. Sometimes they come up the morning of a selectmen's meeting. Sometimes they come up 10 minutes before a selectmen's meeting. Sometimes they come up during a selectmen's meeting. And for Veronica Kell, or anybody for that matter, to demand to get all the information possible 48 hours before a meeting is just ridiculous. And all she's trying to do is set that man up for failure, because he can't do it. And nobody can. Nobody can. But it's going to be up to the other two to hold her back and to stop her from this nonsense, and to say, okay, if we're going to have that kind of a demand, we're going to have to vote on it. And I don't want to entertain. And the chair can say, I'm not entertaining a motion like that, because that's just unfair. And I think, Lori, between the two of them, they could stop her. But she's been yelling from the beginning of the meeting to the end, and making unrealistic demands that I think they're exhausted and they just want to go home right now. I don't blame them. But I'm gonna start playing this again. This is a long video, and I'm sorry, but I don't know if I am sorry. I don't know. You need to know this stuff, people.
By Tuesday, so that there's time to review this
Sure.
prior to our meeting. In other words, I would want it 48 hours before. So the 10th at 11 a.m., everything. I want to know everything from DOR. I want to know everything from the accountants. And I want to know what was transferred by ambulance receipts from
That's really funny. Teresa got up and walked out of the room on this one. I don't know if that's why, but that's what she did.
the fire chief.
Okay.
Thank you.
You had said that you had 1 o'clock on the 12th, but text I have says 2.
There's another, interview that's not the, land use coordinator, the conservation. That's
Oh,
up.
that's what you said.
Yeah, correct.
It's either MJTC or M. Never was, and there is not. So I just want to make that clear.
Was received by the town clerk November 26th, that I have submitted my resignation as a member of the Board of Selectmen effective December 31st, 2024. I want to make it very clear.
Veronica Cal, yes.
And Teresa A.
Okay, I'm going to get these people out of here. Okay. So that was the budget crisis. I'm going to do another video on trash, I think. This is a very long meeting. Yeah, I'll do another video on trash. I'm not going to bore you people any further. But I just wanted to thank you for bearing with me if you're still here. And maybe you've sped up the meeting. Don't forget, you can speed up the meeting. You speed up my video so that I'm not rambling as much. Excuse me. So I wanted to bring this budget crisis to everybody's attention because it's very real, and we need to be concerned about it and not laugh about it and not spend a whole bunch of time saying I told you so. But this is what happened, and I have no sympathy. But unfortunately, the culprits are gone, and I think it's Chaz, Joe, and Eric Slagle, who they clearly did do this. Chaz was the chair. Eric was our town administrator. Nelson Moy had nothing to do with it. He wasn't here. He's got to pick up the pieces, and I'm just disgusted. But everybody in town needs to know this. I've noticed that a lot of people haven't watched the full video that I put up earlier of the BOS meeting. So I wanted to, and this is at the tail end. So I wanted to do a separate video so that you'll know about it. I'll probably do a couple other cutouts from this meeting and some others as well. So you can see it. All right, I'm going to let you go early. So again, if you're still here, please subscribe and do all the liking and all that kind of stuff. So I will, I'll follow up. Please leave some comments so that I know what people are thinking on this, and I can follow up with another video to keep people informed as this goes. They're having a meeting during the day now. Great. We're going back to daytime meetings. So we'll try to, I'll try to be there and record it live, not live, but I'll record it. And okay, I'll stop talking now. Thank you so much for everybody being here. And I'm gonna end this right now. So thank you so much. Take care.